Now, you might have been in a grocery store or a farmer's market and seen this mushroom that looks unlike any other mushroom you've ever seen. It's this big, white, fuzzy mushroom. Now, of course, I'm talking about lion's mane mushrooms. They are being used in coffee blends and even snack bars. If you've been browsing YouTube or looking at social media, you probably heard people raving about its many benefits. Now, this unique mushroom has been used for centuries in traditional Eastern cultures to help digestion, to help cognition, and overall vitality. So let's take a closer look at this really interesting super mushroom that everybody is talking about. So before we jump in, if you like what we're doing here at the Dr. Gundry podcast, please don't forget to subscribe and, most importantly, share this with your friends and loved ones. Okay, so why is lion's mane different than other mushrooms? And quite frankly, how is it similar to other mushrooms? So lion's mane mushroom's scientific name is Hericium erinaceus. Now, Hericium in Latin literally means hedgehog. So you can see how this mushroom got its moniker. It has many other names of things that it resembles, but we can see which ones stuck. Now, this is not your typical cap and stem mushroom. They actually have these teeth-like projections instead of the gills that you see in most mushrooms. Most mushrooms are amazing nutritional powerhouses, but lion's mane stands out because of two unique compounds, hericinones and eraceons. Lion's mane mushrooms are the only food that we know of that contains these two compounds. So these compounds can actually cross the blood-brain barrier. And we think that many of these compounds also have an ability like lion's mane, but they haven't been as identified as these. So researchers have been interested in lion's mane, not only for improving everyday focus, but also for protecting against cognitive decline and actually helping repair damaged nerves. So how's it doing? These compounds in lion's mane actually stimulate the production of two very similar compounds that have actually fairly similar names. One is brain-derived neurotropic factor, BDNF, and also nerve growth factor, NGF. Now, as the names imply, these compounds actually stimulate nerve growth, they stimulate nerve repair, and they stimulate nerves making connections with other nerves. And if you think about nerves making connections with other nerves, is really fundamental to the memory process. And so there's been a lot of interest in lion's mane and really other compounds that stimulate the production of BDNF and NGF. How do they do in that respect? Well, a study in Japan in 2009 was a double-blind placebo-controlled trial. They took 30 adults aged 50 to 80 with mild cognitive impairment. That's kind of the first step in the beginning of Alzheimer's. So they took lion's mane tablets, 750 milligrams, 3 times a day. So basically 3 grams a day for 16 weeks. So that's essentially 4 months. So of interest is the group that got the actual drug. Their cognitive function actually improved significantly over the placebo group. Now here's the bad news. It's important to note that 4 weeks after the trial, their scores had dropped significantly, showing that the effect was unfortunately not long-lasting. But lion's mane isn't just for cognitive improvements or treating dementia. Now, there's other studies that show taking lion's mane could actually relieve symptoms of depression and anxiety. And it's probably because lion's mane also has an anti-inflammatory effect, which could also help the gut microbiome. Now, I want to pause for a second on that point. One of the things we have to realize about mushrooms in general is that mushrooms are one of the better sources for polysaccharides. What the heck is a polysaccharide? Well, a saccharide is a sugar. And polysaccharides are multiple sugar molecules bound together with chemical bonds. The cool thing about these sugar molecules and their chemical bonds is we don't digest these chemical bonds very well, but our gut bacteria digest these chemical bonds and think that these polysaccharides in mushrooms are some of the best stuff they ever ate. So what? Well, when gut bacteria are happy, they make us happy through all the compounds they produce as postbiotics. Also, when they're happy, they actually tell our immune system that they've got things under control in the gut and that our immune system has better things to do than get all excited. In fact, that's why mushroom consumption has shown to boost immunity and boost natural killer cells, one of our immune system white blood cells. So just because we're talking about lion's mane in this video doesn't mean that we should forget that lion's mane shares many other beneficial properties with other mushroom families, including these sources of polysaccharides. It's also been shown to help fight diabetes, help fight cancer through natural killer cells. But again, it's all because there's nothing unique to lion's mane in this respect, but it's unique to mushrooms in general as a great source of polysaccharides. Now, here's the fun part. There are a great number of people who really do not like mushrooms, that mushrooms are slimy. My wife happens to be in that group that thinks mushrooms are slimy. But lion's mane is one of the few mushrooms that doesn't taste mushroomy or doesn't really taste slimy. When it's cooked, it's actually got a texture very similar to lobster, crab, or scallops. And my wife happens to love lobster, crab, and scallops. So there's a good one. Flavor is actually very different than most other mushrooms. It's kind of a sweet, almost seafood-like flavor. So you can use it where you might consider using seafood. Now, chefs love lion's mane. I was first introduced to it at a very famous restaurant in Manhattan in New York City. And the chef was just this huge fan of lion's mane mushrooms because he found that his really picky diners who were there for a 3-star meal would actually ooh and ah over the look of this thing, which was one thing. But when they put it in their mouth, they actually liked the taste of it. So it was a win-win for a 3-star chef. And that was actually where I was first introduced to the culinary benefit of lion's mane. So how do you do it? Well, if you can find it fresh, and interestingly enough, we're finding it more and more available in regular supermarkets, certainly upscale supermarkets, and farmers markets are frequently brimming with lion's mane because of its newfound popularity. You can slice it into steaks and grill it. You can cook it on a pan. A lot of people like to add olive oil or butter with it to even improve its flavor even more. You can season it like you would seafood with garlic and lemon and herbs. And really, you can make it into a remarkable imitation of a crab cake. They're easily put in soups and stir fries. And it not only adds texture, but it's got a kind of a visual, cool look to it as well. These mushrooms, like all mushrooms, will really absorb the flavor of anything you're cooking it with, which really enhances its appeal. Now, most people are going to acquire it either dried or in an extract form. And this is available in powders. It's available in capsules. I've seen it in tablets. And you can even get it in coffee blends, in tea blends. So however you want to acquire it, look into adding it to your repertoire, with the understanding that as far as we know so far, the effect is not going to be long lasting. It's something you're just going to have to add to your repertoire. And as someone who has a rather large repertoire of supplements, I see nothing wrong with adding another supplement to my repertoire. please look for standardization. Look for words like good practice seals. Look for third-party testing to make sure that what you're getting is actually in that product. The Now Corporation, who I have no affiliation with, has recently begun testing products that are sold on Amazon for whether they actually contain what they say they contain. And at least by their reporting, about 85% of the products sold on Amazon do not contain the amount that they say they contain. 85%. Recently, I had a patient who we had found that her proper dose for a supplement called CoQ10, coenzyme Q10. You see that advertised on TV almost every night. Her dose to get an adequate level of coenzyme Q10 in her blood was about 600 milligrams. And she was taking 2 300 milligram capsules from a reputable company. She found on Amazon a 600 milligram capsule in a single capsule. And it also had a lot of really cool stuff. And it was almost too good to be true. She started taking that. And when I saw her a couple of weeks ago, her coenzyme Q10 was virtually undetectable. And I said, what the heck? You stopped taking your coenzyme Q10? She said, no, I didn't. I've been taking 600 milligrams, just like always. I'm going, are you sure? I said, something's really different. And I said, it's the same ones you've always taken? Oh, she said, I found the capsule. One capsule was 600 milligrams from a new company on Amazon. And I went, there it is. Perfect confirmation of what Now has found, that there wasn't any CoQ10 in that capsule. So needless to say, she's back taking the ones that work. So what I'm saying is, just because you see a trendy thing on a capsule, know your supplement manufacturer, know that there's some guarantees that what they say is in there is actually in there. And that goes with lion's mane as well. You can also find it in energy snacks and coffees. Chocolates now are incorporating lion's mane, but the quality varies. So read the labels. The other thing you got to realize is that the studies that have been done in human trials were using a lot of the actual extracts of lion's mane, like 3 grams a day of the extract to achieve a result. And that's usually not what you're getting when you're buying these blends. So again, just because it works at a high concentration doesn't mean that a little dab will do you.